Hey, this is Review by Norman. It's recording, just talking about what kids are going through in school because I have two daughters. So I speak from actual personal experience and not just from hearsay or, second, third, fourth person down kind of information. My children are going through school, and it's my older one is very, she's having to go through a lot of computer learning and not as much in-person learning, even though she does go to school, yada 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 on that aspect. But just earlier tonight she's like, hey, I need help with homework. you know and I love math. I love Sudoku. I love solving problems, this, that, and the other. It's just I'm fortunate that my brain worked that way. A lot of other people I know, math is basically like devil versus a cross, like they don't want to be near it. That being said, she didn't understand from what the teacher was saying because the teacher said very little in her personal. So that was one thing that my daughter said, which is you can take it as secondhand information. But for me as a parent, when my daughter has to tell me that the teacher didn't explain it well, the teacher just kind of grazed over it, and we were left to our own, cognizance and all that stuff. They were left to their own self survival, which is fine. After you teach a kid, something within a month and they're still not getting it down, they're either not paying attention or just you as a teacher or a trainer, you didn't pay attention that kid needed extra help. Again, fall back talking about it with my daughter. The biggest key that I find with this is if you're not involved in your kid's life, somebody else will. Um, and that's what I tell a lot of friends. So I tell a lot of people I don't even know, and that's what I tell the school board is there's a vacuum of power, and the people that know how to exploit that power aren't helping these kids. Parents that give their kids tablets, give their kids iPhones, Samsungs, or whatever, TV, computers, such as this that I'm on. Um, there are bad parents just as much as there's bad teachers. I'm not even gonna say like that's not a possibility. I seen it firsthand. I deal with it firsthand. It's terrible. I feel very sorry for the kids being raised in a atmosphere where they feel they're not wanted. But I digress to go back to my children that have a hard time. Not all the time, just very small times. And when it's those small times, I those are big. Those are big problems in my mind. Because if you're going to tell a kid to do the homework and they're still flipping lost, you haven't done what you should have done. Not saying you didn't do it perfectly, but if you're going to teach something, you might be wrong in the way that you teach it. Now, I'm not saying wrong, but I'm saying if the people that are in front of you don't understand how you're saying it, then you need to change how you're saying it and how they're going to do it. So that's what I did with my daughter. So within 15 minutes, we hashed out talking points. Then we started writing. I have a whiteboard at home because that's how I do homework with my kids. Is I write it out. They can see it in bigger letters, bigger numbers, stuff like that, and then we can get down to business to get it solved. Needless to say, 30 minutes working with my daughter. She was just hammering through the homework. Now, teacher at fault? Maybe, maybe not. If I didn't take the time to spend 30, I think it was like 30, 45 minutes. If you aren't going to teach your kid for 45 minutes, that is a horrible parent. And that's the nicest way I can say it. I wish there was a better way. There's not. Don't have kids and you're not going to take care of them. Just as much as I look at people that have pets, don't bring something into your house that you are not willing to fight to keep alive. Flat out. That's the way I was raised. and that's the way I'm gonna die. Like, it's just not gonna be a difference. Um, then my youngest one, which I have two kids, um, she'll have problems in school, and it's back to the whiteboard. And then I also have after school programs I put them in, and I have after school apps that help them with more literature and math and science, and I just keep plugging them away an hour a day. And I tell my kids all the time, if you can be on YouTube, then that means you can also be learning something else. I don't give a crap. Um, and that's the other thing. That's another attachment to school, kids, and parents. I get infuriated, and my kids now know this. Like, it's been probably 3-4 years of hammering them. If you are going to be on YouTube for as long as you are and you don't know anything, interested in your struggles and you're not interested, you wasted your time. You wasted your life. You're not going to get what you want. You're going to get what you need, which is the basics: food, house, car. And even then, I told my kids, there's people in here that just are at the bottom of the barrel, and they might have a house, they might have some food, but they don't have a car, or they have a house, no food, car. And there's always it's a give and take scenario. There's never a take. And I say, you're my children, you're always going to be taking, because you don't have to give me anything. But when you get out of my house, it's going to be a give and take relationship. When you get outside of these walls, you know somebody gives you a place to stay, you're going to pay rent, or you're going to clean the house, or you're going to cook food, or yada, yada, yada. But if you're not giving equivalent back, you're going to be out. Like, no one's going to care. And that's why I teach my daughters. And that's something that I'm finding more and more at a loss for parents, is that they're not telling their children reality. And it's not good. I see it all the time when I go to my children's schools. Hell, I see it when I'm just out in the day life. I'm over here, I'm there, and I'll see kids just acting a fool. Not like how kids just act a fool, like they're just goofy and then they don't really know the consequences of their action, but like stealing, lying, um, horrible attitudes, and not like the smart ass attitudes that kids get when they think they know more than everybody else. It's the smart ass attitude as far as, you're in my way, even though that kid has nothing to give to the world. Like, they don't have a use yet. And it's really weird having to tell kids that, and not tell them that like they're useless, but I'm like, you don't know enough to give enough. Like, you're talking about, Facebook, and TikTok, like, and all this other stuff of, you just want to be a meme, and like, you don't have any skills on working a cash register, oil changes in a car, filling up gas, checking the tires. Do you understand about breaker switches in a house? And I like ask kids these things all the time, and it's like a deer hitting the headlights of a semi going 2,000 miles an hour. Like, they are not ready for those questions. And I look back on the parents. It's like, you're giving your kid a phone and they don't know how to use it properly. You're giving your kid a computer, they don't know how to use it properly. You give your kid any device, and this is one thing I take to heart, is whenever I give my kids any type of electronics, when I give them anything, they need to understand why. Kids aren't being told why. They don't understand anything. And so when I have these conversations with parents, especially with men, I don't really have too many with women, because to be honest, it gets emotional. And I'm not trying to be emotional with them. I'm not trying to attack them. I'm genuinely trying to help. And a lot of people get caught in their feelings. No, I'm not disrespecting any about that. If you want to have feelings, but I just tell people, is my time is spent better for those that actually want my time, rather than those that are just enforcing I give them my time. And a lot of people take advantage of that or try. I give people like the 5 minutes, 10 minutes of, hey, I'll let you get through your spiel, blah, blah, blah. We need to get back down to brass tacks. Like, I'm here to help you, not here to really take anything from you. Like, quite frankly, there's nothing you want, I want from you. You obviously don't want like stuff I have, but you do want my time to assess your situation and to move forward. So that's one big thing I see happening right now between parents, the school system, and the kids is there's a very dramatic fight for dominance. And I think it's hitting a point of catastrophe, I guess is the best way, because of all the things that are happening in society right now with the social norm, social structure just being like totally spun in a loop like a tornado. Then you have parents that were lackey kids. Like even myself, like I was a latchkey kid. I walked home from elementary. I got home. I cooked Pop Tarts, or I had a fucking Hot Pocket. And then my mom got home, and then boom, dinner was on its way. Kids nowadays, they can't do it. Like they get home and it's like they just starve themselves waiting for dinner. It's like they won't take the initiative to to make a sandwich or any of that. And that's something I teach my kids. Like I'll sometimes work way too late at night, and I don't get up at 9 on the weekends or 11 on the weekends. I might be asleep till 12 because I'm working till 6. 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and then they make themselves breakfast or they make themselves a sandwich. And if they really want something that is above their skill level, I get woken up ahead of time, tired as crap, but I will go out of my way, as a parent should, to get my children fed, to be with my children. And then, somewhere in between that, I'm like, hey, I really need 2 hours, like to lay down to get, my body needs it. And they'll be like, sure, that's perfectly fine. Or we wanted to play some more. That is what I do for my kids. And that's why I tell a lot of adults, you have to do that. You're second, third, fourth, fifth down the list. Men, I said, your needs are off the table 100% until your kids' needs are done. And, I don't say that to belittle men and say, you're second, third place, but I take it as a men figure, as a leader in my house, is if I am not willing to die on the sword, then my kids have no reason to follow my lead if my lead is not to protect them. If my kids don't feel safe around me, then I have no leverage of telling my kids what to do. And that's what I tell a lot of other parents, because I had a father that I was on the back burner. And so he's like, hey, you're going to listen to me. I genuinely said, like in my head and verbally, it's like, I'm not going to follow these footsteps. It doesn't benefit me. It's not safe for me. I don't feel like at all that this is a good situation. So I tell a lot of parents that from my personal life, my personal occurrences. So when they wonder why their kids not following their lead, they really need to look inward and not outward. And a lot of males don't like that. Again, I have stories about when I had to bite the bullet hard on, what, Norman, you're being a real giant POS. I didn't like that. Actually, I got mad. I remember that was like a yelling time. And I tell parents this, like I had to grow, I had to learn, I had to listen. I had to take those L's. I had to take those knees. And when I started taking that knee, like kneeling down of defeat to get back up, to rise to the level that I need to be, life actually got easier. It's like the more work I put in just got easier. And it's once I started being able to push and push and push, I found out that I now outrun myself when I was younger uh, than I would have if I didn't take those criticisms, those verbal and even physical sometimes criticism from people. Learning from my mistakes, big thing that I tell people: if you're not going to learn from what you did in the past and you were going to repeat it in your future, um, And that's all I got to say. Parents, we have to step up, because you're allowing somebody else to take control of your kids, and then you wonder why you have no control of your kids. Somebody took the vacuum of power from you, and now it is theirs. And it's a hard mountain to climb back on. So be safe, be real, have a good time. Peace.